Can you provide an update on any progress that's been happening towards providing access to tablets or computers to young people in their cells across youth justice in New South Wales?
We haven't really progressed it much more than what we spoke about last time, Ms Hurst, but the scoping itself also presented, if I'm really frank, it was a very, very expensive task. And it's not just a matter of just say putting in a wireless hub somewhere. You've got to have all the different security elements. The way that retrofitting would be very difficult.
Aren't there prisons even older than ours? If they can access telecommunications, why not kids like us?
You know, in adult prisons, they do have access to tablets within their cells. Obviously, young people are much more vulnerable when they're within the system.
I don't know that it's in every single one of the adults in their rooms.
Why are kids not prioritised by the government? We're more open to influence.
There was some research recently that access to music and art significantly reduced recidivism for young people by 60%.
So every youth justice centre has a school in it, and in the school itself is like there is actually a music program.
So how would they access that when they're in their cells on their own?
Well, I could probably take some of that on notice.
We don't want to listen to a teacher. Before we went to youth justice, we got expelled from school. We can't sit in a classroom after sitting in a cell watching television all day. When we go outside, we want to run around and burn off energy. Why don't you listen to us? The only time we are away from the distraction of other naughty children is when we're by ourselves in the cell. Shouldn't our time be spent on more important things than television?
You know, you've talked about the risks of having things within the cells, but then there's also the other side of it of psychological risks of not having things like access to counselling services via tablets, for example.
I want to try new activities and do art, learn music, and talk to my family, elders, or teachers. Wouldn't this bring real stimulation to my brain? Kids like me can absorb, reflect, and be receptive to learning new things.
The cost of detention has risen to about, as I understand it now, $1.17 million per year per kid. I think 3 years ago I got a figure of it was just under 900,000 or just over. Could you explain some of the factors that are going into the rising cost?
Look, I can only press upon that in terms of saying that it could potentially be that there has been a rising cost of all sorts of things.
I was hoping you might say it's because we're investing in all these fabulous dynamic programs for kids whilst they are in. Are they costing $300,000 in the last 3 years in terms of the investment that we're making?
No, it would have.
What services are being given to us kids that have caused the additional $300,000 in the last 3 years per child in custody? You pay over $1.1 million every year to hold kids like me in a cell. What services are offered to us for $1.17 million a year compared to adults whose services cost $140,000 a year? If I want to prepare for my future out of prison and learn what I'm passionate about, why don't I have the means to do this in my cell?